Hi everyone, welcome back to Drusilla's Dream. This is our third and final blog on the topic of the afterlife. And this one is called Life Between Lives and Past Life Studies. Of all the things that I've studied and experienced during my lifelong search for truth and understanding about who we are, where we came from, and what our purpose is here on the earth plane, this work has been the most transformative for me. The study of past lives and reincarnation goes hand in hand with life between lives examination. Evidence of these two provocative and intriguing topics was inadvertently discovered for the most part by people who did not believe in the existence of either one of them. The two people who seem to have had the most impact on this area of research and on me are Dr. Brian Weiss, MD, a traditional psychotherapist, and Dr. Michael Newton, PhD, a traditional counseling psychotherapist and master hypnotist. Dr. Weiss's book, Many Lives, Many Masters, is groundbreaking regarding past life regression, and I highly recommend it. However, Dr. Michael Newton took Weiss's work a step further to include not only past life regression, but he also developed a technique that allowed him to take his clients into an even deeper level of trance called the superconscious, to access memories of our time spent in between lives. Therefore, I will reference only the work of Dr. Michael Newton exclusively. I will never forget the day I started reading Journey of Souls by Michael Newton many years ago. I opened his book in the early morning hours as my husband and I were having coffee on the patio behind our home on a beautiful summer day. Almost immediately, I knew I had discovered and was about to access a huge portion of my lost soul memories. With every word, my inner world, it started opening wider, revealing a wondrous journey that I knew I had taken many times before. The journey of my soul from physical birth, death, rebirth into spirit, and again being born into the physical world. I sat in the same spot, hour upon hour, and just as the sun was beginning to set, I finished reading Journey of Souls. And my life has never been the same since then. I see this world and the world after completely different. While reading Newton's decades-long research and documentation of not only what happens when we die, but what happens when we fully cross over and enter the afterlife, I was overcome with so much emotion and gratitude. I knew I had finally found the ethereal key to unlock the lost memories that were swirling just under the surface of my conscious and subconscious mind. With every case that Newton shared about what happens during our time between lives, I felt a familiarity and a remembrance. I knew I'd been there many times in the afterlife, and I actually remembered. I had these spontaneous visions of what it looked like, how it felt, and how beautiful and peaceful it is. So it is a great honor for me to be sharing this information with you. I hope I can do it justice, and I hope also that it will be as life-altering for you as it was and still is for me. Michael Newton used hypnosis in his practice to help patients go back in time and, for example, return to the root cause of pain, phobias, or to heal trauma from childhood. Being a certified hypnotist myself, I can tell you that undergoing hypnosis is very much like meditation. The induction part of hypnosis, where we are guided into a deep trance, is much like a guided meditation. If you are aware of where you are and what is happening, and you can come out of hypnosis anytime you wish. It's very different than the stage hypnotists that we're familiar with, where you're doing things that you would not normally do. You know what's going on and where you are, and you can stop anytime you wish. The difference in hypnosis is once you are in trance, you can be given suggestions to help you lose weight, for example. In Newton's work, once a client was in the deepest level of altered consciousness, he was able to have his clients report to him what they saw and experienced in the afterlife. Early in his practice, Newton was traditional in his approach to therapy and had absolutely no interest in metaphysics, including past life regression or the afterlife. He was also not spiritual or religious. However, while using hypnosis regression to bring a man back in time during this life to find the source of his chronic pain in his side, the man inadvertently not only slipped into a deep trance state, but he moved beyond this life to a past life where he was a soldier who was killed by a bayonet in the very place where he had been experiencing chronic pain in this life. That discovery led to the complete elimination of the man's pain. That was the beginning of Newton's research into past life regression. However, it was not long before another person, a woman who was suffering from unexplained feelings of loneliness in this life, she spontaneously slipped into the afterlife or the life between lives and discovered her soul group there. It was an emotional moment for her, and she discovered that there was a reason for this, which I won't go into, but there was a reason why the people in her soul group had not incarnated with her during this lifetime, and she missed them terribly, but was unaware of who or why she was missing them. Discovering the source of her loneliness was enough that it enabled her to begin to live a more purposeful life now. And I will explain a little bit later what a soul group is. We have already discussed some near-death experiences which for most proves to us that there is actually an afterlife. Yet coming close to death is not actually dying, because we come back to the present life. One can only go so far in a near-death experience. Michael Newton's research took the journey further by developing a specific hypnosis procedure that guided his patients into the superconscious state, where they were able to access memories of being fully on the other side. Sometimes, immediately after death, a spirit is not quite ready or willing to move away from the earth plane and enter the afterlife. They may be worried about their loved ones and want to make sure that they're okay. Or people who have died suddenly or brutally may be confused and not sure they're dead. They may need a bit longer to move on, but eventually they do. When we cross fully into the afterlife, we are usually met in what Newton calls the gateway by a loved one, a spirit guide, an angel, or another being of light. This helps us to feel more comfortable and peaceful as we reorient ourselves back into our true home. Young souls may take a bit longer to make the transition. Older souls often do not even need anyone to meet them. They know exactly what to do and where to go because they have made the journey many times. If one's life has been extremely difficult, a soul may need a period of recovery or restoration before he or she can move beyond the gateway through orientation and travel further within the afterlife to their soul group. We may spend some time with our guide going over the life we just lived and experiencing both the good and the bad choices we made and how they may have affected others on earth. People like Hitler or Osama bin Laden will most likely be isolated until they can come to understand the consequences of such a life and prepare to reconcile the karma that they incurred by their behavior. And for those of you who don't know, karma is really just cause and effect. For every action, there's a reaction, or for everything that we do and say comes back to us. Newton's research has given no indication that hell, in its description of everlasting suffering, exists in the afterlife. Souls, however, must balance karma if they want to evolve, and sometimes that can lead to a sort of hell on earth. Yet it is always the soul's choice to accept such a life It is not considered punishment, and there appears to be no judgment in the afterlife, except perhaps self-judgment of a newly returning soul who feels he or she may have failed in accomplishing their life purpose. He also found that no souls are ever destroyed. We are energy, and energy can't be destroyed. However, it can be reconfigured if a soul continues to spend lifetime after lifetime in cruelty and destructive behavior. Our guides, our spirit guides, play an essential role in our lives, both here on earth and in the afterlife. Spirit guides are souls who have lived many times, many lifetimes, and they've evolved to a point where they are entrusted with younger souls to help them on their journey, lifetime after lifetime. Everyone has a spirit guide. We may wish to contact our guide or not. Either way, we receive information from our guide all the time through our thoughts and our imagination. Whether we are aware of them or not, they're always there and are completely dedicated to the development of our soul. Many years ago, I wanted to know the name of my guide. I entered a deep meditative trance and asked for my guide's name. In my mind's eye, I saw the letters K-A-M-A. It was unusual and weird, and I was disappointed. I wanted it to be, well, anything except Kema, which is how I pronounced it. Nevertheless, that's what I received, and I wondered maybe it means something. So I took a huge unabridged dictionary and looked up Kema. It said, in ancient Hindu mythology, Kema is the god or goddess of love. So I was suddenly ecstatic. That is so cool, I thought. My guide is all about love. I can't do any better than that. And Kema has been with me and has helped me through many times in my life. He often comes through in my journaling when I'm having difficulty understanding the lessons within some of my challenges. Our guides are also an important part of our reorientation to the afterlife, especially if the life we just lived was traumatic or difficult. Once any restoration or healing of energy is completed, the soul moves further and is reunited with its soul family. Souls created alongside other souls creates our soul family. We're created at the same time, so we're at the same level of development when we're first created. So that's why we're in the soul family. But there are other soul families who are connected to us, and they're around us, and they are all called soul clusters, according to what was explained to Newton many times during his case studies. We may continuously incarnate with souls from other clusters who also connect with like-minded souls or souls with similar interests, which forms sort of a study group where we hone our skills. Your soul groups and clusters do not necessarily include people who are part of your family and friends while on Earth, though many times they do. Our energy and vibration shift as we mature and evolve. If we're not on the same level of maturity as our mother, for example, we will not be in her soul group, nor will we want to be, though we definitely can visit each other. If we evolve more quickly than others in our study group, for example, we may move to a more mature group whose energy and vibration lines up with ours. The last thing I would like to discuss is that understanding the bigger picture and the entire journey of our souls makes living on this dense, confusing, and often violent planet a bit easier. It helps us to be more compassionate towards souls who are not behaving particularly loving or kind. We don't know their entire history or the reasons that they're behaving the way they are. We also begin to view our time here as if we are attending a most difficult school. Yet if we work hard and study, we awaken and we evolve, we will eventually graduate and perhaps be given the opportunity to help other souls who are taking the journey a few steps behind us, yet on the same path. Souls who are more mature or have evolved further than we may have are not considered better. There's no lineage in the afterlife. We're all on the same level, but some people are moving a little faster, some a little slower, but we're all equal in God's eyes. There are many other things I'd like to discuss regarding this topic, like the library with Akashic records, the Council of Elders, and the Hall of Pre-Birth Planning, where we gather with other souls to plan our next incarnation. And I have actually had a personal experience with the Hall of Pre-Birth Planning, which was extremely interesting and insightful. In Newton's second book, Destiny of Souls, he discusses how we spend our leisure time. For example, socializing, playing games, and visiting the Earth plane, other planets and realms. However, this blog is already a bit lengthy, so I'll save those topics for another time, and I would really appreciate it if you would let me know if you would like to discuss this information further. I hope this dialogue has more than piqued your interest and that you pick up a copy of Michael Newton's book and enter a world of enhanced possibility. In this sacred space, you will most likely experience higher consciousness, an awakening, and an ability to reach beyond the physical plane to the non-physical, where you can perceive things you cannot see, hear, touch, or sense with your 5 human senses. So in conclusion, please take with you that it is not my intention ever to convince anyone of anything. I am simply sharing what I have learned and have come to understand and believe. I think each of us has a wisdom and the intuitive ability to decide for ourselves if something we hear, read, or experience is something that can or might be useful in our life and is thus worth exploring further. I offer my words, my thoughts, and love without any expectations, except perhaps that you may feel my soul's intention to simply be of service. So I hope you enjoyed this journey. I know I certainly did. And I thank you again for spending this time with me. I hope I'll see you again next week. I hope everyone has a beautiful day. If you see behind me, the sun is now coming up. So enjoy your day and namaste. In other words, the divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity in you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.